Hi, my name is Eric, and welcome back to the channel. Or if you're new to the channel, welcome. Have a seat. You're in good company. So I thought I'd talk today about why people tend to not seek out treatment or help and continue to suffer with it alone. And two of the big things that stick out to me, anyways, is the stigma that surrounds, you know, mental health. A lot of people will not seek out treatment because they do not want to be classified as having a mental illness. Yeah. You would rather suffer and get worse than to say uncle and try to get help. And for most of us, that means you have to hit rock bottom before you finally do get help. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help people that are in here and not on rock bottom. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that I feel that the only reason people change is because it becomes too unbearable to stay where they're at. And it's true. You know, people don't like change because it causes anxiety. Whether it's good anxiety or bad anxiety, it's still anxiety. And then the other thing would be costs. What a lot of folks that are health professionals that write scripts tend to think that everybody is on Medicaid if you're in New York. And that means it doesn't matter whether it's generic or not, it'll only cost you, I think, like $1. Whereas if you're uninsured, that same medication for the month could cost you $1,200, $1,300. Oh, yeah. I remember at one time my wife, with the medications that she was on, just to buy the meds was almost her whole Social Security check. Yeah. You in the healthcare profession, find out, one, the medications that you're trying with the patients. Is it something that the patient can afford once they leave that office? Are they going to have to go without? It's just like the elderly. The elderly can't afford all their medications. So what do? They start cutting back on food for the house, heat for the house. You see where I'm going with this? So cost is a biggie. You know, you have to keep it so that medications that you're trying on your patients are non-generic or are generic medications. And when I say generic, it just means that after a certain amount of time, that medication that, let's say, Pfizer has, uh, they can have the sole rights to, for so many years. After that point, then other companies can start making pretty much the same thing, but it's called a no name generic for a lot less. Something that's always bothered me with the cost of meds and stuff is that we should get the same pricing that people all over the world do from these companies. But they say, well, we have to have research, and development. All right, spread it around to everybody, not just us. Why should we pay for it all and then give it away? If you can afford to give it away over there, then every elderly should be covered, and everyone with a mental health disorder should be covered free. Okay, get off my little stool there I'm standing on. So, I mean, cost is a big thing to a lot of people. And doctors aren't aware of this unless you make them aware of it. And that's simply by saying, look, this is my coverage. And, do I have prescription coverage? And then the other thing, too, when it comes down to medications. Now, I know that Pfizer, the only one I can think of off the top of my head, but there's other pharmaceuticals out there that have programs that you have to sign up for, and they will give you either free or reduced medications that you've been prescribed if you fit a criteria. The criteria is based on income, and if you have little to no income, then you're probably not going to get it because the state should be picking it up. It's those ones that are in that, still in the poverty level, but they're right in that middle class where they make too much money to get any of the programs and not enough to pay for what they need. That describes a lot of folks. So before you toss the idea of not taking any medications to help you, if they're prescribed, talk with your psychiatrist, nurse practitioner, PA, whoever's writing those scripts, and say, can I afford them? Before you start me on these, because if I can't afford them, it doesn't matter whether they work or they don't work. There's no way I can pay for them. And a lot of times they'll have somebody that's a nurse, registered nurse, social worker on board somewhere that they can tag real quickly to find out, of what is your cost going to be. I know the one mental health here locally, the registered nurse will get right on the phone with the drugstore that you deal with and get a list right down through of every medication and what the costs are going to be. And it's all spelled right out for you and for the doctor. So there's ways around the costs. And if you have ideas of how to get reduced medication and stuff, costs, put it in the comments to help everybody. I mean, this is all about the channel. It's trying to help everybody. You guys are helping me because I'm able to have a place to talk freely with you. And my goal has always been just try to help you, help one person that is having a hard time right now and sees no way out, or I can't afford this or that. It's about helping each other. All right, so the other thing is stigma. That was a biggie for me. I didn't want to be labeled as somebody crazy because all that came to my mind were these people that are drooling and, it, I finally had to hit rock bottom before I got help. I'll be honest with you. With so much going on in the country now, I mean, I just shake my head as being unbelievable of people doing horrific things. And then we get tossed into the middle of it of mental health disorders instead of coming right out saying what it really is. Now, I'm not going to bring up a bunch of these shootings because I don't want to give a platform for any of them. They're low life shitheads that went and did horrific things. And that doesn't describe 99.9% of us that are within the community. But we get a black eye every time something like that takes place. Oh, it's a mental health disorder. No. I trust you guys more than I trust people that aren't in treatment. That's I feel safe around you guys. But it really hurts, it hurts our community. It even makes it worse for folks that were contemplating whether to seek out treatment and help to get themselves in a better place. It shuts them down. It reinforces why they shouldn't get help because they don't want to be labeled as mentally defective. What I feel is, true courage is people that want to try to get themselves better and seek out help. You don't need to go to an acute mental health hospital to get help. A lot of times, just your general practitioner can prescribe stuff to try to help, or they can get you set up so that you see someone that specializes in that area. And it's all 100% confidential and discreet. Nobody is going to know unless you tell them. So, wouldn't it be better if you were here and you sought out some relief before you end up down here where I was in an acute mental health hospital? Yeah, a lot better. Well, for you guys that are struggling every day, I know when you see some of these videos, you say, well, he doesn't really know what we're going through. All right. Maybe I don't. I know what it's like to have severe depression. I know what it's like to have suicidal thoughts against myself on a daily basis. I know what it felt like to not leave my house for over 2 years. I also know what it felt like to have OCD traits of constantly checking and rechecking and having panic attacks. Yes, I used to have panic attacks out of the blue. I thought I was having a heart attack. That's how bad it was. Social phobias. I was scared shitless being around other people. Not because of them, it was because of me. I felt like that lone penguin on an iceberg looking around and nobody's there. I think, I don't know whether it was Robin Williams or somebody had said, you know, is it better to be alone by yourself or alone in a crowd? And I would avoid being around other people because of what was going on internally with me of why would they want to be around me? Everybody just thinks terrible of me. All these negative hitting from all sides. So maybe I do know what it feels like. But what I can tell you is all of those things took time to get to where they got to that height. And when I finally got into treatment, was prescribed medications, there wasn't any magic bullet. The only magic bullet that I can remember, and I attribute that to having a great psychiatrist, was the suicidal thoughts on a regular basis. Constantly planning out, constantly saying it when you're driving a vehicle. If I just swerve right here and hit that tree, everybody else would be better off without me. That sound familiar? And then the drinking. Yeah, that was a fiasco. But he prescribed, I'm not going to give you medications because I don't want you rushing to your doctor saying that this might work or that might work. Your doctor needs to figure that out with you. But when he prescribed a certain medication, I can remember laughing about it then. When I was telling them, I said, no matter how hard I try to have suicidal thoughts come back in, I can't. And it even made him laugh, and he said, look, normal people are not thinking suicidal thoughts every day. And I know you guys out there that may be suffering from the same thing. What bothers me about that was with all these thoughts, I never included anybody else. I never thought of taking anybody else. I never thought of hurting anybody else. It was always self-inflicted. And so, again, back to what's going on in the news and everything, it drives me, bonkers. I'm just like, wait. Somebody that's suicidal is not going to go and do all this. They're going to do it quietly, out of sight. But he said people that are normal don't have these thoughts constantly. You just can't entertain it. So it felt so weird because I had become so used to it that I felt like a big thing, a hole was missing. But even after he got me where I needed to be on my meds, it still required a lot of hard work on my end to get back to where I felt I needed to be as a father, as a brother, brother-in-law, you name it. I had to earn it back. All the relationships that I had broken, trust. And that was my goal from the get-go once he had me stable, was to get all these people back into my life because they were really important to me and didn't understand why I was doing the things I was doing and saying, and why I wasn't going to plays and recitals and everything else. It wasn't because I didn't want to. It's because the anxiety of just leaving the house was more than I could bear. And I didn't want other people to know. So I stayed home alone for almost 2 years. And there was no quick fix, just because you get the right concoction of medications doesn't mean, okay, so everything is rosy again, because we tend to destroy and hurt the people that we love the most. So, like I said, I had to work hard to prove that what I was saying was true. And people were, of course, they were skeptical. Why not? So, to kind of wrap this all up, I wanted to accomplish a couple things. I wanted to hit on a few reasons why people do not get into treatment. I wanted to hit on the fact that what's this guy that is talking here, me, of he doesn't know what I'm going through, or he doesn't know how it feels. Yeah, I do. Been there, done that. And you guys are just, if you're in that right now, you're just starting to build back. Where I've been doing it now for 24 years. It's how long it's taken me to, and I'm still every day doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And that is living a wonderful life, helping people, and enjoying the people that are around me. You guys, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section. If you like the content that we're pushing out of here, if you could like and subscribe, that would be great. And on that note, I'm going to stop right there for a minute. One of the things that I've been thinking about, and you tell me, is getting, instead of just listening to me all the time, I was just wondering about, is there a couple other people out there that would like to try this, that have been in treatment or not in treatment yet, but you feel okay in front of the camera at home talking about subjects. And if I could figure out how to get us two in the same video, where we're side by side talking at a distance, you could be anywhere in the world. I'd love to do that, because even I get tired of hearing myself talk. I always told my wife what I was going to do was just make this tape of me talking nonstop for an hour and selling it to people so they could go to sleep. Because I can even remember talking to my therapist, and I look over and she was snoring. Yes, snoring. My voice has that tone that I could be wealthy beyond wildest dreams right now. But if any of you guys out there would be interested in doing something like that, you know, hit me up, let me know. All right. You guys have a great day.